Hello.
And welcome to Catherine's Garden. I'm so glad you're able to join me here today. And today is the first day of August, and so I want to go around the garden and start doing some harvesting of vegetables and tomatoes. And so come with me as we walk around and tour the garden and enjoy the beauty of the day. Let's use this month as a time to
How
explore.
to have a homesteading lifestyle. And for the next couple of videos, I'm going to be emphasizing that for the month of August. So stay tuned for that topic, for little tips and ideas. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. It's so good to be here with you today. I hope all is well with you. Well, today is the first day of August, and I'm going to take you around to see the garden, and we're going to reflect on what is happening in the garden for this first day of August. And for the whole month of August, what I would like to do is think about the garden in terms of this topic: having a homesteading lifestyle, having a new attitude about the garden and about living in the city, and how can one become more self-reliant and self-sufficient. And it is an exploration, so it's something new to think about. And as we garden, which is one way of becoming more self-sufficient and self-reliant, we are going to also think about how can we produce and how can we use the products of the garden here to take us into the winter months, so that even in the winter here in my zone 6 garden, that I can have the taste of summer, that I can be self-sufficient and self-reliant. So for the first day in August, the impatiens are really bulking up here in the garden, and a lot of other things are starting to come into play. Like, for example, my dahlias. You can see the dahlias here, and I purchased these from Costco, and this is really my second year in planting dahlias, and this is the first time that I've put them here. I'm going to have to find a way of staking them so that they're not flopping over. Now, this plant is called purple Perella, and I love purple Perella. It seeds like crazy throughout the garden, but as you can see, it gives a contrast from the green, and it looks really good with the impatiens. So it gives some excitement to this bed. And my Casablanca lilies are just about done here, but they are still looking good. I need to deadhead, and I'll do that very soon. Now, this is dill, and it's okay to mix different plants or types of plants in your garden. This is dill, and I like that. I like how the dill is there in the garden, shooting up. And I actually had purchased that last year, and it reseeded itself, and it's come back. It's looking really good there. Now, I don't know what this is called, but I do like how it is very much giving contrast here in the garden. To me, it looks really good with the roses and the hydrangeas. If you notice here, my hydrangeas are starting to turn color. And that's the exciting thing about the hydrangeas. They're going to change over time and take on a fall-like color. But in the meantime, it's just so beautiful here. I love it with the bishop's weed. That's this plant right here. And I also have pachysandra hidden under here somewhere. But, you know, this particular hydrangea, it's said to be a reoccurring bloom, and so that's why you see the fresh blooms coming, but they're not as big and full as the initial blooms. But it's still beautiful. The garden is looking so good this morning. It's because my husband has been diligent in watering the garden for me at night. And so they wake up, the leaves wake up with the fullness. And but by midday, when the sun and heat comes out, it does sap some of the energy. So it's so important to water the garden. And he hasn't been cutting the grass that much because we want to keep the moisture in the ground. But I do love the morning light. I love sharing my garden in the mornings with you. And my lilies here are almost finished. They were okay. Usually they're very full, extremely full. But this year, they still look good. I'm still happy with them. Now over here, I had rearranged this section of the garden, and the nasturtiums have really taken root, and they are starting to flower, which is encouraging because I really want them to fill up this area here. I planted some seeds here from a box of seeds from the Dollar Tree. So I'm waiting to see what I'm going to get, what's going to happen there. Now, if I get some of these plants here, that's fine. I really like that. This is a lily of the valley, and I would love for the lily of the valley plant to take up this corner here. We shall see. And then this is dead nettle right here. I planted some of it from another part of the garden, and I put it there, and I'm glad to see that it has catched root and that it is beginning to grow, and I want that to also spread in this area as well. Yeah. Now this is my angel Trumpetry cuttings that I put in this right here, and something has been eating the leaves, but I think it's thinking about flowering, which is great because when you start to see it branch out like this, that means that it's going to flower soon, and that is wonderful. I'm so excited about that. Homesteading in the city, homesteading in the city, I got a new attitude. This morning I am going to be harvesting in this garden. The tomatoes are ready to harvest, and here are some tomatoes. They're starting to pink up and they will be ready soon, but I'm going to let them sit. And this garden is doing very, very well. Here the cucumbers are getting larger. They're flowering, and I see some cucumbers developing. But let's go on in here and harvest the tomatoes that are ready to be harvested. And then here you can see my marigolds, mint. We have here the beautiful kale, and here are the tomatoes. As you can see, they are just developing really nice here. In this area too, I planted marigolds from a box from the Dollar Tree, and I was able to plant them, and they're now flowering, which is fantastic. And then also I have some zinnias that I put here. I transplanted them from the front bed and put the zinnias here, and they are now beginning to flower. As I'm walking through here, I'm stepping on mint, and it is smelling so good, so refreshing. So let me take you over here to this section. So here you can see that these tomatoes are ready to harvest. And these are the Roma tomatoes, and they grow in a cluster form. And so I'm going to harvest them today. Let's see if I can just, ooh, I was able just to pull it off. Beautiful. Kind of gently twist them off. If you have a scissors or some kind of tool, you can use that. But at this point, they can easily come off like that. So let me just reach in here. Oops. See how quickly it just dropped on the ground? I'm so glad that I caught it, because they would fall automatically on their own, and then I would lose the crop. And let's get the rest of them here. Now this is a good cluster right here. I'm going to take them all. And then those that are not as red, they can ripen indoors. But this way I won't lose any. These are really good to make tomato sauce with because they're much more meatier than the other tomatoes. And I have here one, and I'm going to just twist this one off too. I think I'm going to take the other one as well. Even though it is still can be ripened on the vine, I think I'm going to take it because I don't want anything to happen to it. But there are plenty more left here, so that's good. This one is so heavy that it's caused the cage to shift, and but I'm very happy to see that. Now I have this cucumber here on the vine. These are pickling cucumbers, and I'm going to harvest this as well. And here's another one. I'm going to harvest this one too. I'm going to have to get some water over here. You see my beets? They're drying out. So this is what I've harvested so far for today. This is what I've harvested so far for today. Looking good. This is my harvest so far. This zucchini plant is really producing a lot of zucchinis. And as you can see, I have a large one here, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4 others and a couple of others developing here on this one plant. And then I have my tomatoes that are forming here as well. And everything is in production. Beautiful. How do you feel about the homesteading lifestyle? Do you have a new attitude? Are you ready to be self-sufficient? In these precedented times, we need to be independent and start to think of ways of being self-reliant. And then also, we want to look at what is available to us. How can we recycle and utilize the natural things that are around us to help enrich our garden and enrich our lives? The other thing is that to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, we also have to take care of our emotional health and our we have to be able to take care of our emotional health. And I believe that my garden is my therapy. So how can we make things more beautiful? How can we enhance our environment, organize it, straighten up, and make it our own? Good morning, and welcome to Catherine's Garden. Well, this is the first day of August, and things are looking very good out here on the deck. I'm looking at my cannas, and we can see that they are growing up, leafing out really well. The thing is that I haven't seen the flowers coming yet, but I'm very happy with the display. This is looking so fantastic. The leaves are healthy and big, and I have just continued to water them on a regular basis, and it seems like that is exactly what they like. I think there's something like a marsh plant. They like to keep their feet wet but not drowning, you know. So in this container I've filled it with a lot of things to hold the moisture, and then I put these white stones here. They're decorative stones, but they also have a purpose in that they will help to keep the moisture in the pot and not allow it to dry out. That's the major thing, and they've really responded to this in a great way, in that these leaves are looking so healthy and happy. And then I also have here my Vinca. The Vinca is just blooming and growing so tall and beautiful. I did put within it some of my basil here, and that is also growing really well. And in this pot too, I put a lot of moisture loving compost, and also the decorative stones, and it's very attractive here. I water these plants every single morning right around this time, so that they're getting the water that they need, and also my basil here. And I'm just so pleased with this deck arrangement. And then over here I have my Calla Lilies, which are continuing to bloom and looking so great, as well as the calendrium. Yes, the calendrium. And I'm so happy to see another flush of my rose bush here, and they are doing really good. It's the climbing rose. I love seeing it peek out through the deck railing here, and I love the coloring of the rose with the calendrium. I think this is such a beautiful spot. It's made me so happy to see how healthy and attractive it is, and I will definitely be purchasing some more calendriums next year from Costco. I'm hoping that they have different varieties, because I would love to add a different variety to my collection here, or create a collection of calendrium bulbs. The thing is that one has to be very patient with them, because they love the heat, and they didn't start to leaf out until later on in the season, when the temperatures were above 65 at night. Because at first I was wondering, did I waste my money? But I'm glad to see it now, because I'm truly enjoying this arrangement here. And then my son bought me this beautiful Japanese maple tree, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to do with it. But it is here on the deck, and I think it would be more purple in leaf color if it was in the shade, because we do get a lot of morning sun and into the afternoon, but then in the evenings it's cool here. It's shaded in the evenings, but it's surviving, and it looks really green and healthy here, and I'm very pleased with this Japanese maple. But yes, I do have to figure out what I'm going to do with it for the winter, if I'm going to pot it up or put it in the ground. I'm still thinking about that. And here I'm getting a flush of rebloom here with my Eden climbing rose, and I did cut it back pretty hard, and it is reblooming, and I'm so happy to see this. It is inspiring to know that I'm going to see this beautiful rose again, in the garden. And a lot of the other roses too have been reblooming, not like it did in June. However, it's still very, very beautiful, because down here you can see my curly pink rose doing very well, and blooming here, giving me this beautiful color. The garden as a whole is colorful still from the annuals, and the vegetables too are really starting to show up. Some people may say, well, you're investing a lot of money into this garden of yours with these plants, because yes, the caladiums and the other plants, the the rose bushes and shrubs and things, they cost money, yeah. But you have to think for yes, what are you going to spend your money on? Do you want a long-term investment, a short-term investment? What kind of joy do you want to experience? And I've decided that I want a garden. So yes, there is some upfront investment that has to be done to purchase the bulbs. And if you're buying a lot of them, it's going to cost you. But for right now, I am enjoying them, and I am experiencing this joy. And so I think that it is worth it to invest in this garden. But then also, some of the plants, the perennials, they're long-term investments. So they will come back, and over time you will benefit from having them. Now, yes, the annuals are for the year, but then when you look out, like when I look out here and I look at the impatiens, I am just so happy to get up in the morning and see the beautiful color in the garden, because my garden otherwise would be a very green place, because I have a lot of trees, a lot of hostas, shrubs. But because of the impatiens here and these annuals that I've planted, I'm able to have a lot of summer color still in the garden. And it gives me joy. It makes me happy. And at this point in our lives, we need to find things that make us happy. And you know you're going to spend your money anyhow in something, because money is meant to be spent and stewarded and used in some way. And so you have to decide, well, what is important to you? What is going to give you the most benefit? And I think we have to be conscious of our emotional health right now, and what gives us joy that is not going to poison us, destroy us, make us, fall into some kind of vice. Then that's what we need to spend our money on. What's going to uplift us, make us happy, fill us with joy, give us peace, contentment, peace of mind. And that's what we need to invest in. I mean, really be wise about what we're investing our financial resources in, our emotional resources, and our spiritual resources in. And for me, the garden is number one. This is the best thing that I've ever done, and I'm very happy with my garden. And the thing is that the garden changes on such a regular basis. Each month there's something new, something different, something exciting happening. So there is a wonderful payoff. And I think that that's what we have to decide on. What is the payoff? Is what are you looking for? What is it that you really want out of the garden? And when you figure that out, then put the money in and enjoy it. Because what you put into the garden is what you're going to get out of the garden. And I know there are other factors, but we still have a heavy hand. We can handle it if we want to. We have the power to create and to make our lives full, rich, and exciting. You've got control. Yes, you do. So that's how I feel about the garden. And every morning I am encouraged. I am excited about this. And it just gives me a lot of joy. And I love sharing it with you. And I hope that you enjoy the experience too. So that's what we're going to be talking about here in Catherine's Garden for the month of August. I want to talk about and think about how to have a homesteading lifestyle in the city. I'm in the city, but you may be in the suburbs or in the country. And how are you managing it? Because it's different for each and every one of us.
Being able to go into my own garden and pick fresh vegetables and eat healthy, and I know where my food comes from. I think that's part of having a new attitude about homesteading and having that homesteading lifestyle.
Well, if you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. How are you going about having a homesteading lifestyle? And do you have a new attitude? And do you want to have a new attitude? Let me know down below in the comment section. Yes, comment down below. Yeah, and let's share with one another as we build community on this topic. Homesteading in the city. Homesteading in the city. I got a new attitude. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time in Catherine's Garden. Bye. I got a new attitude. I got a new attitude. Yeah, homesteading in the city. Bye. And happy August. Happy August. See you. Yeah, and make sure you come back to Catherine's Garden. Bye.